That was weird. Keyboard went dead. I tell you, he's got IT people that I can't explain. Unreal. It was like, get along, and I'd save the file, and it's like my leg after after I left the hospital. It's like, it doesn't work. I didn't do anything. Anyway, so growing up, I had the radio. This was that radio. And it was the old transistor, and had that, and every night, listen to CBS Radio Mystery Theater. And that's what put me to sleep. Honestly, that came out at 10:30, and I think it was only 40. They had 3 segments, and it was over by 11:20. It was over, but the third act started around 11:10 or 11 o'clock maybe, so 15-minute segments. But that's usually when I'd fall asleep. You know, the third act, if I made it through the third act, then something else was going on, because usually that'd be when I crashed. But every night, and then when the Cubs did their West Coast trip, game started at 10 o'clock. There you go. And we'll get to the Cub fan thing, but I'm sorry, I'm bouncing. I don't know. But, so in the earlier, I said I could rattle off all the Cubs. Well, I already had done that. And anyway, so I remember this program. I don't know what year, 69, that was what the tag said, but I remember that program. Remember those. Anyway, so the 69 Cubs, we don't need to go through all this. But so I watched them, and Leo DeRocher, Ernie Banks. See, we ended up seeing Ernie Banks in his last pro game. And I haven't double checked this. I don't want to, take time out, but I think it was against Philadelphia, and we sat over on the first base side. And that was one of the games that the Cubs ended up winning that I went to. Probably only saw a dozen. Oh, and then Amy said, oh God. A tennis camp I went to, one of the that's weird. One of the girls there, I was in 8th grade, and she was driving. That's all I remember. And I guess she just took a liking to me, and kind of a liking, but I was in 8th grade, so I didn't know what liking was. And she sent me this wooden plaque that had Amy in a heart and Brian in a heart, and there was an arrow in between. It was weird. But the thing is, I gave her so much attention, and I can understand maybe when she might have thought things were confused. She was 60. She was at least 16 because she was driving, and I don't think she was 17. But she ended up being a ball girl for the Cubs, and I was so enamored by that. Again, I met this gal at she was a girl. At tennis camp, Stapp National Tennis Camp at Ripon College. And it's just weird. It turns out she was a bat girl. Ball girl. What did I say? Like ball girl? Tennis. She ran out and caught foul ball. Well, I guess they do that. Never mind. And so she was a bat girl for the Cubs. I bet you if I look up. No. I'll save it. And so I was enamored by that. And she goofed around with Billy Williams' daughter. And Billy Williams' daughter, Amy, and I went to go see, not Sharky's Machine. Brian. So this is why I hate Google. So I have to do it. I just have to do it. So that kind of looks like her. So what do? I go this, And what pops up? Yeah, okay, that's exactly what I just saw. Come on, Google. What? And something's happened with them because all of a sudden their searches just turn up garbage. And don't get distracted. But, oh no, I'm fumbling around. That's there. But that, okay, and I thought that was her. But we went and saw Burt Reynolds in, oh God, the prison movie. Mean Machine and Longest Yard. I can't believe I couldn't remember. So this was 74. So that was when it was Amy Sheree. But yeah, this girl, we went and saw this with Billy Williams' daughter, and I went over to Billy Williams' house. He lived in the suburbs somewhere, and I mean, real nice guy, and I had a little plaque. In fact, I made one of the 4-H club things, and Billy Williams was the batter, and I had Fergie Jenkins as the pitcher. Oh my God. And I gave him this plaque. Oh, it's embarrassing. But yeah, we went and saw this movie. And Burt Reynolds. That's just sad. We're not even going to do that. But point being was, yeah, all this, Ken Holtzman, I know I mentioned him, Hickman, boom, 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 Randy Hundley. See, he had bad knees, and I thought, oh, I'm just like Randy Hundley. You got bad knees, bro. Yeah, I can feel you. Hey, here's Joe Namath, bad knees, right? You think, oh yeah, he's got terrible knees, awful knees. He's only had 4 surgeries, people. Yeah, that's not even trying. Phil Regan, Fergie, that's Fergie. And then I did the Fergie, Joe Pepitone. Yeah, he had a little wig, the baseball cap. Trivia. Anyway. Oh, Jose Cardinal. Best afro in baseball. Ever. Afro the size of a Volkswagen. Look at that. What a goofball. That was the Cubs. Those elastic bands. Okay, promotions department. Try something else. Oh, I didn't know who's that. I don't know. Madlock. Oh, Steve Stone. So I was so into this stuff, I'd make that out of construction paper, and now we're getting into the brick house, and then the CAD, and it's just, oh, yeah. And then Lou Boudreau and, Lou Boudreau. Oh my God. Well, here it's right here. Vince Lloyd and Lou Boudreau. Listen to those guys. So this is how nice Miles could be. We'd be going up to Wisconsin to the new cottage, and I didn't want to ask to put on the Cubs game, but it was on, and I was always listening to him, and halfway back, he would turn on the radio and turn on the Cubs game, and I would just like, he likes me. He actually likes me. Anyway, so he did some decent stuff. But, oh, man, listening to those guys in the afternoon for games. I remember one game against the Phillies. Cubs were up 2-0, and then they ended up losing 3-2. I remember crying in the backyard because I was so devastated. And no, these aren't from me, but it just brings back memories. $2 bleacher tickets. Then what's his name when he ragged on all the bleachers? And then this goof. I know he's a legend and all that, but it's like he's just a goof and gets loaded at these games, and Bo makes funnier comments than him. Anyway, that's where we were. Because the center field is all blocked off. But, oh, man. That's old school. I think I got new school. Yeah, you can't really see it. But I ended up working on a couple of these buildings. So that's kind of strange. Oh, you see them on TV. It's like, yeah, I've been there. I looked at those balconies. No balconies on that one, but whatever. And, yeah, the new one with this. Get out. No. Why, you ruined it. You guys ruined it. All this. You, same thing. You, no. Just tear it down then. You don't put, keep chopping it up. This is like my knee. This is my knee. You keep chopping it up and putting this in here and, just tear it out and build new, and everyone will have their great memories, not tarnished memories of, what? No. What's that? No. Don't. Just gut it. I saved Dyke Stadium. I'm not, that's a hold, but, and then this one was close. We looked at this at CTL, and we were looking, when they were putting up lights, we got kind of involved with, okay, now what do they do long term? And it's one of those where it depends who wants the final answer. If we want it to work, we'll pay for it. If we don't want it to work, give me an engineering report that says it can't work. Oh, the dark side. Comiskey Park was like that. Can we fix it? Or do we have to demolish it? Well, you can fix it. Nah, that's not the answer we want. Next. Do you think we can fix it or get rid of it? No, you need to tear it down. Oh, you're hired. Anyway, so that's the Cubs. Old school, man. Bloodgood was right there. Bo was right there. That's where that was. I know, I'm harping, but I just want to, it's just so great. That's where we were. And that's where we were. It'll never be like that again. Knucklehead renovators. Anyway. I know this is goofy, but so I was into puzzles for a while and had this exact one. And the thing is, it's amazing how much life is. How do you build puzzles? Do you start and just do little blocks? Are you the person that does the perimeter? And what's funny, when I was a little kid, I was do the angelfish and then the ones. And now the way I approach investigations offshore, get the perimeter. Get the perimeter in. Get all these little things in first. And then kind of work in fill in the blanks. But first it's just like jump right in, do the easy ones. The goldfish, this guy was easy. Guppies got kind of weird, but then this got weird. It's like I don't have too early. You do the big things and the obvious. And when I did the investigations, it was good, bad, and the ugly. So, if this were a concrete parking garage, you'd have the easy things are the really bad places, the ugly. People go in and document the ugly and then run away. And it's like, no, you got to do the other documentation for what's good and what's working and what's just before everything falls apart. So that's how I kind of made the analogy with puzzles. But no, we didn't have that one, but we had stamps. That was one. Then this car one. But I don't know. Then I just remembered this image. But that, I'm trying to find that Italian Caprini. Anyway, not important. Not important. I was talking about puzzles. That was banging around the house somewhere, but I think we got for our Uncle Paul. And Paul Shoes, a quick little story, but not now. But, as I lead into it, my father's only personal friend in life is this Paul Shoe they went to school with. I already said on once where he got taped over that the guy, eternal bachelor in San Francisco from the mid-50s on, so put your equations together there. And every year we send Uncle Paul a subscription to Playboy. And this is when we're little kids. This is 8, 9 years old. Uncle Paul, do we get it? It's like, Dad, I'll take care of it. Just, this is from you to your Uncle Paul. And Uncle Paul was creepy Uncle Paul. He's a funny guy, but, oh, man. He's just, you don't kiss a little kid on the lips goodnight. No, you don't. Not funny, but I just want to keep going. Because I'll just jump to 8 tracks. So the 8-track debacle, and I guess I was going to do this on a video without recording my voice or anything. So I got into 8 tracks when everyone else was getting out of 8 tracks. And I never got into cassettes. But I had this, 8-track collection that grew. That was the little thing. And grew. And a lot of these, REO Speedwagon, oh yeah, all these, yeah. And it grew, and it grew, and it grew. I had over 150 8-tracks. I made this little homemade 8-track holder. And it had carpet in it. I had it freshman year. I'd give anything if I had a copy or a photo of it, but I had all these tapes, and when I go down to Purdue freshman year, I'm thinking, oh, I'm a little bit bigger. I go down there and I'm thinking, I'm going to be hot stuff. Because I'm going to bring and spin some 8-track tape. Lay down some vinyl. And I show up, and I might have only had about 4 or 5 of them out. And someone goes, you've got 8 tracks? And I'm like, yeah, what's wrong? No, cassettes, man. You don't do 8 tracks. So honestly, I haven't added these up, but that came close. Maybe if that had 5 shelves, how many I had. Oh my God, well, I'd have to check. 150 was where I topped out. So maybe I'm getting all excited. But the reason I had that many, see, everyone else shows up like this. Pick a tape. And then you start out with AM, and then the old had that in every vehicle. Oh, these are great memories, but horrible sound. So the reason I had that many was because of, not that I was working $2.35 an hour at Sears Roebuck, so that doesn't pull the coin to drop on that many 8 tracks were $4.99 or $5.99. But this is where I lost my mind. Oh, 12 for a penny. See Miller, and get all that, sticks, and you go down, and you get sick. And the thing is, they eventually want to collect. So the great thing is, there's not just one. There's another one, and you go join that one, and then you go join that one, and then you join this one, and you join that one. Obviously, I'm giving it away, but you join that one, you join that one. Then you start joining all these things, and then you realize they want to collect. That's when you go to college. Oh, God. And, I just left. I don't know what ever happened. But I did. Now I got a snort. Sorry about that. And, oh my God, I just joined these like there's no tomorrow. So I get this big bucket of tapes, and then you gotta send this coupon in before next month. Otherwise, we're going to send you what we can't get rid of for the life of us. And then you get dung a couple times by not keeping up with their, I had to keep up with their, send us the message you don't want the next one. And all I did was, as all these cards showed up, I'd just say, nope, I don't want it. Don't want it. So I never got to that you must do everything within 3 years, because I got my little skinny rear end down to Purdue. I don't know what happened to this. But Miles had this thing going. He had a Columbia House, because he did. He had, and that's where I was emulating him. I'm not kidding. He had a rack of probably 80 and his stuff was like, the Herb Albert stuff, the, I know it's Tijuana, but what do you call that? The, cucaracha stuff, not too stereotyped, but, oh my God, the Latin stuff, the Latin Casablancas, whatever that is. But anyway, that's what and the thing is, he just, and then Stan Getz and all that, he had a little jazz thing going, but he never listened to him. He didn't have an 8-track player in the Bug or the Chevette, but yet he ordered all these, so that's all they were, and that's where I'm leading with this, it was all for show. And I ended up getting that DNA, but I'm adopted. How did I start getting that DNA trait in my stuff? I got his 8-track spores one day, and all of a sudden I'm binging on these things, but, oh. Yeah, not to beat a dead horse, but this was the file on Miles' stuff. And so, yeah, that kind of looked like it, and that kind of looked like it, and that kind of looked like it. And, there's actually, but, but, okay, so around our house, Miles had all these 8-track collections, and the thing is, it's all front. All that stuff was a front. I don't think they had McCall's, but they had that. Yeah, I don't want to do that. But they had all these magazines every month. I don't know why I did the McCall's. But yeah, Road and Track there are two, Motor Trend and Road and Track. So you get those every month, and it's like, okay, Mr. 318. Gearhead. No. Come on. But you have Better Homes and Gardens. Look at those. Best of 71. Anyway, I don't know. I'm not that guy. I'm not a car guy, but man, you just have to appreciate that. Anyway, Food and Wine. And they had all this stuff around the house, mostly in the den. And there'd be a Playboy, we'll get there, but, all this Scientific American, they had all this crap out. Never saw them reading it. Never. Never. They weren't Time magazine. They were in these culture magazines, showing how depth their social prowess was. And, let's talk about pictures. But so that was, Alan enticed me to go watch, I'm looking at the list because I grabbed these for a reason, to go watch family movies, and I'm expecting this. Going back. So we had these. So yeah, every single, you're funny. But I had all of these, and I'd bury myself in these things and just try and soak it up. Didn't soak it. Should have been wearing, we'll get there. Should have been wearing my sweater tie. So, but yeah, so we had that, and these are fine. They're just okay. And then we had that. But the thing is, that was on public. And every month you'd get it. We don't need it. But every month we'd get that. And it'd come in the brown wrapper. And he'd sit there in the mailbox, Alan in the front seat, and I'm in the back. And he'd have to go sift through the mail. But it was there because it's in the big brown envelope sleeve, and he'd slide it out, and then he'd open it up and unfold of the month and kind of show it to Alan and kind of hold it up. I don't know if he'd show me, but it's kind of like, okay. And he'd tuck it back in. And I have no idea what that ritual was, but he did it all the time. When I was in the car and we got mail and Playboy was in the mail, he went through that routine. Guaranteed. I even had, in fact, I have a thing for, we don't need, but he had that and 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 that. And though, and then, and it probably didn't even record, but that was all that stuff on his desk and in the bookcase. You know, it's like you're not a very good creative hider if that's where, you hide your stash. Then it got to the point where maybe he wants us thinking my brother's is devious. Devious mean I was good at replace in kind. Because I had the curiosity, not anything beyond that, but just see what was. And so, I mean, this is a testimony of admittance. So, yeah, I looked at that stuff, but you couldn't understand it. How stupid were you? It did drop you on your head. Well, just, you know what, I'm just going to kind of dance around trying to edify people about stuff. You're in high school and junior high, so don't try and backpedal what all that was. Oh, well, but there's a lot more to it, but I'm not going to do it because it isn't what you think. But speculation wins on this one, but I did my research. But anyway, so this was the little projector we had for the films. It wasn't exactly like that. It was exactly like we had that. We had one of those blue things. Oh. We had that. Oh, we're not there yet. Is that the only one I had? Oh. No, this is the one we had. There we go. Yeah. So this is it. So you put on the little reel, one of these sides. So it's on this side. You put the 8mm film on this side. And, oh yeah, goes through here. No, down here. But the point being is you had to feed it through all this stuff and then get on an empty reel here. And then you had these tiny little hand crank things. And this is like those little car jacks that, add a little bit more to the rotation. I was going to say fulcrum. I know it's not fulcrum, but when you spin it, get a little bit more lever arm to the thing. But then you get these tiny little things. So what happens? You're turning, get all excited. It's like, what is this? What is this? And all of a sudden, snap, boom, that broke. So you know that these didn't get viewed very much because one time it was just like break. And that thing broke. And it was like, oh, jeez, now what? Not those exact words. And there's a little plastic bag that went over this to get tucked away in the top shelf of the family room closet. And so put this back, but it's broken. It's there's your German engineer that went on to design floorboards for Volkswagen. That was his first project. To do the little the connection from that thing to the thing. My head's going 500 miles an hour. Oh, I'm getting all gassy. But anyway, so I throw this thing back in the closet, and to this day, no one's ever, kind of missed the alert or the opportunity to address it, but never got mentioned. Like, what happened to because it would have to, obviously Miles found out about it, but for him to address, what were you guys horsing around with a movie projector thing? That was just like, well, we're looking at your porn stash. So that never got addressed. That thing was in the closet forever. I mean, they moved out of the house and stuff, but this wasn't functional. I don't know where else, because the only reason I brought that on was senior year. The only time I saw those one other time, maybe two, after Alan showed them to me. And because the setup and everything else, it was like if my curiosity gets the best of me, the setup time to get all that put together, and then the chance of them coming home, we never had a 4-hour window of opportunity to do that. So that's my, I know Alan took those, and I'm not going to do it because I can't prove it. I can bash myself, but I'm not going to say things about other people I can't prove. But I know. Anyway, so Craig, Tim, and Rich, I invite those knuckleheads over in high school, and it might have even been, no, was it? No, it wasn't the weekend that I got in the wreck. There's no way. It could have been that Friday night. Never even thought about that. But when I had a window of opportunity, I mean, enough to pull this out and not worry about Miles and Carolyn coming home and getting the screen and everything else. No, it was a weekend when they were gone, and that didn't happen too often. So it may have been that Friday night before the wreck. Oh, I wish I could remember that. But yeah, so they come over, and we've got beer and stuff, obviously. And we get this thing, and I'm showing this, and they're just funny and stuff, but then all of a sudden, I do that, and I was at that age where, you want that to be a cool factor, where I'm showing father's flicks. That's how warped I got because of this. And I was so ashamed that I showed these. Embarrassed for Miles and a private thing, and I was devastated by that. And now, as it turned out, had I not done that when Nancy got married, her son, the PI from Wyoming, when he was investigating me in that letter, which I'll address, that he goes, well, who are these guys that you said because I said, when so-and-so came over and we watched the porn movies that, they finally saw the other side of you. And so Tom's interviewing me on the phone. I know I'm jumping around, but hopefully this makes sense. I'm 43 at this point, proving that my father's this, when he's around Nancy's grandkids. And this letter sets off Tom. I got to give a little backdrop. And Tom, the PI, whose father, Nancy's ex-husband, is King County's lead defense attorney, back to Tom, calls me up and says, was this Craig, Tim, and Rich, who are they? So I told him about Rich and Craig and Tim. He goes, well, I know Craig. And I forgot how he knew Craig, but somehow he had a college roommate that knew Craig. So he goes, well, let me call my buddy, and I'll find out about Craig if your story's true or not. I said, well, why don't you talk to Rich? I talk to Rich every couple weeks or something. He goes, all right, but I don't want you, Rich is going to defend me no matter what. This Craig, he goes, what about Craig? I said, I haven't talked to Craig in 15, 20 years. Well, at that time, 15, at least 15. He goes, well, I want to call him because, I couldn't taint the testing field. So, and it gets back where Tom says, everything you said, it checks out. He said, yeah, you guys saw the movies and they came over and, and then Tom interviewed Rich. Rich told him all the stuff that he knew, and my story checked out with the letter that I used for my evidence. Because I said, I'll back this up. I'll back this up. If you want an orthopedic, a pediatrician, orthopedic surgeon, he'll back up my other stories. So, anyway, I don't know where I'm going with that. I got to wrap this up pretty quick. So Miles had, and this is creepo factor number 2, 100 plus N plus 1. He had an enlarging machine downstairs. And every now and then he'd go down and use it. But I didn't see any pictures. So he had dark room, he had the lights, and he had the trays and the chemicals, and not quite the machine, just making a point. Okay, creepy McPherson. But he had all this. And he used it, but I don't know. And we used to get our haircuts downstairs in the basement. And I had longer hair. Alan had a buzz cut. And it's the only time that something could have happened that, who knows? I ain't saying and I ain't saying, but I'm saying. Because he'd go down there and do his little dark room thing with the lights and the chemicals, and, well, I didn't want to do that. And, who knows? Who knows? Tell you the publications we saw, someone did that stuff. So, we'll leave it at that. Oh, I guess I wasn't even recording. Oh my God. I don't even know where I picked up. Oh, crud. I might have to insert later. Oh, for crying out loud. Never mind. Alright, I'm going to wrap up on this. I just realized I wasn't recording, and I don't know what I've got and stuff, and I get drained after these things. I can't keep going back. So this is what I felt like. It was like, get that stuff off my brain when I was a little kid. It's like, get it off. It's not right. I'm too young to know what it is. Get it off. Get this brain matter, those images, and clean it. So this was my analogy, is when you see that stuff, obviously you can't unsee it. And so it's like that. It's like a stain on the carpet. We had these brains and they're not tainted. And then all of a sudden at age 5, you get that on your brain? So over time, you know where this is going, but that's what it becomes. And then now we'll get into the analogy of what happens if you keep watching that stuff. And you try and act like, oh, it doesn't bother me, then the foot traffic, but that's your brain. That's your brain keep watching that stuff because you don't get rid of these stains. Never, 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 never. However many times I said it, multiply that by 1,000. Because that never goes away. And when you try and clean it, it just makes it worse. Exactly like carpets. Okay? So, again, this was so symbolic of what all those images do to you. And even though they're there, you gotta act like, no, the carpet's clean, people. I just washed it. Yeah. That's rolling around in the back of your head. No, those images don't go away. So every time you see a girl, those images come up. Every time you're alone in the car with a girl, those images come up. So, people. And if you're into it, good for you, but you're going to have to account for why you thought that was a great idea. But that's what your brain, and then and then we get into the levity, and it's okay, make your point. But it's like, okay, now we can come in, steam clean it, and that, time, other things, but it's still there. It's still there. So, I don't know where I go with this. Not what you think, but and no, I'm not, that's not what I was there for, and I'm already defending what it's not there for, so, God, insecure. I guess I'm more insecure than I thought I was, less. Anyway, so then you do this. This is my levity, but I'm not serious. You want those images to be removed that badly. And seriously, and I can't, you can, especially the ones with the kids. And okay, you can deal with, okay, that affected me with, girls and stuff, but so then, okay, you get those guys and then you start tearing it out. It's like well, is that what it'd take to not recall those images? No, I don't know. There's levity here, but so I don't know. I'm just like, hey, you keep doing it then. Say you're someone that just says, okay, I'm just going to, internet's free. There's Pornhub and all these little access channels. I'll delete that out, but I know that. Never mind. But, so that's what you're doing to yourself. That's just, okay, I don't know what. Oh, that was with the, okay, we'll edit that out. I'm nearing the time. Because this was the Purdue stuff. The toga party. That was me at the toga party. I can't believe I still had that picture. Actually, yeah, it's probably more like it. A little blanket with a thing. But, see, I think I taped over the Shreve Hall first time I met Jill's story, so I gotta save that and redo it. I didn't use these the first time, but I had a toga party story. There we go. That was my roommate Bart. But anyway, I gotta wrap this up, so